your ball in the trees and then you live out the park. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us. 'Cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Hello, and welcome down to the Rough Cut Golf Podcast, where you join us in reviewing the greatest competition in professional golf. We are talking about the Open Championship 2024, played out over the hallowed links of Royal Troon, and boy, oh boy, did we have quite the major championship to finish off the season. I am joined by Michael and I'm joined by Kieran to discuss through everything that happened, because there's a lot to unpack. We're also going to have a little bit of a look at the major season in general, what we kind of thought was going on and how that translates into, is professional golf becoming more watchable? Is it becoming boring? And everything in between. So, first of all, gentlemen, how are we?
Wonderful.
Very good.
Did you enjoy watching the Open?
It was very enjoyable. The only mild inconvenience was that on the coverage, because it was so bloody rainy on some of the days, you couldn't actually see who was hitting the shot and where they were aiming.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to get into the coverage a little bit more.
I didn't actually see that much of that round on the Saturday, but yeah, apparently it was bad.
Yeah, the first tee was like.
Yeah.
Did you have a day off watching it?
I did. I watched Thursday, Friday, and the Sunday.
Oh, right. Just not like Saturdays.
Well,
he was very busy.
I was preoccupied on the Saturday, but you know.
Did you not recognise what went down in the group chat on Saturday, Pete?
No, I didn't. I completely ignored that. Sorry, I was busy. I was busy working.
You're busy,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was busy, trying to build our reputation throughout the world of golf.
And how do you feel that it went?
It was good.
Yeah.
Overall, yeah. I mean, I've been working the last few, and this was probably the most comfortable I've felt. I didn't feel great physically, but managed to battle through. I think it's worth saying, first of all, before we delve into all of this, Xander Schauffele won, and he ended up winning by 2 in the end from Rose and Horschel. It was the joint best round of the week. And to do that on the final day, it's going to be hard to beat. And he didn't make a single bogey, no mistakes, super solid. And he actually looked, probably out of everyone, like the most comfortable, the most in control. Like, he was just laughing, he was smiling, he looked so relaxed. It didn't look like he was competing for a major championship. He actually made me less excited watching it. Because it didn't look
like he was trying very hard.
It just didn't look like he was ever going to make a mistake. Yeah. He kind of just like plodded along, hit fairways, hit greens, hold a few putts, had a bit of a laugh. Even when he was wandering up the 18th, and he kind of missed his putt for a birdie, and just kind of walked up, tapped it in, quick salute to the crowd.
Yeah. Shook a couple of hands.
Yeah. It was almost like he was so in the zone and he was so focused on what he was doing that it wasn't quite real for him, if that makes sense. He just looked completely in control.
We have an ongoing joke about Nick Faldo in our office. He's a legendary British golfer and has done wonderful things in the game of golf. He was talking about that feeling of that final round where you can't get caught. Like you're going down 17, 18. Someone's going to have some sort of miracle to catch you. You've been concentrated. You're in like you said, in that zone for like the entire day. You won't realize how tired you are until you come off the green. I imagine Xander Schauffele got off and was like, "Oh bloody hell, I'm shattered."
I mean, he always looks like pretty relaxed anyway.
Yeah.
And I think during his like post-round interview, he was saying like it's definitely not sunk in yet.
Yeah.
Like he was still thinking about how to grind his way around the course. So I'm presuming, hopefully, like when he got off the course, when he got home, it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Xander to me has always had like a little bit of like a resting worry face, and now,
I do know what you mean.
Mum, I was watching it with Mum one of the days, and she was like, "God, he looks petrified." Whereas on that last day, he looked so in control. So I don't know if that's anything to do with the fact that obviously he's done it now. He got over the line, he won the PGA, and sort of sorted that out.
It's a very mum thing to say.
Yeah.
Though.
Doesn't he look worried?
Doesn't he look look worried.
He does. Yeah, no,
I
yeah,
hope it's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
I mean, he was saying like he's won the PGA Championship already this year, and for him, that was a massive confidence boost. It proved to him, it proved to himself that he could get over the line. That under the most extreme pressure, he could, play this incredible golf. And he's always been like ridiculously consistent as far as like getting up and around the top of the leaderboard. The big criticism has been that he's never got over the line.
No.
And then this year, wow, it's changed.
He's so far past the line is a dot to him.
It is a dot. He can't even remember what a line looks like. Yeah. It was incredible. I think we'll kind of delve into his kind of result and exactly what that means a little bit more, but probably some other kind of players who disappointed and surprised. We need to probably start because he was one of our picks pre-tournament, even though I did predict that he would be a bit of a disappointment for anyone who's getting excited about it.
Okay.
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah,
we'll get on to him. Rose, though, shot 67.
Yeah.
Final round.
And imagine shooting 67 in the final round and not winning.
Yeah.
Well, I think you were saying about his interview afterwards.
On the Saturday.
And
on the Sunday.
Yeah, you didn't watch on the Saturday.
Yeah, so how could you tell us about something?
I watched all the highlights of it. I saw on the Saturday, he called the round something that a big word. It was like statistically.
Yeah, statistically enjoyable.
Enjoyable. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, statistically enjoyable. So I saw that, but no, I don't think I saw his final round interview.
Okay, I think whoever it was.
I think it was Sam.
Whoever it was in the office before was talking about how. He said after that round that he gave it his all. He played fantastic golf, and he just didn't win because the best player on the day, Xander, won. So, I think Justin, who qualified him for this as well, can't forget that.
Yeah.
He came through final qualifying, which is ridiculous in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, golf has been splintered, in the last couple of years where there are some players where you're now like, because of the drama between the PGA Tour and LIV, that you expect some of those guys to have to go and qualify because they're not high enough up the rankings, they haven't played enough tour events or whatever to qualify naturally for it. But Rose was not one of those people. I didn't expect him to have to go and play at Burnham and Barrow or wherever he played.
Yeah, 7 under to win it, I think.
And it's just been such a fixture of professional golf for so long, you just assume
that
he's going to be in. It's kind of like Billy Horschel, who also came second. He's one of those players who he dips in and out of form a little bit, but Billy, you just expect him to be at these championships because he's been around for so long.
Yeah,
he's been a mainstay. Billy also kind of finished T2, friend of the channel. Kind of spoke to him a little bit during the week, and he was close. He played pretty well, made a couple of mistakes on that final round, but I don't think anyone is looking at the players behind Xander and saying, "Oh, I should have done better. Should have done better. Should have done better." That's what I mean.
Well,
Xander just won it.
Yeah. I think Rose can argue that obviously, like the first couple of days, only having one bogey in 30 holes. He only had his first bogey was on his 30th hole.
I was going to say he played less than everyone else. This should be a scandal.
Yeah. So one
high up.
bogey in 36 holes was way above the rest in that sense. And obviously, like he was putting not great, and like he hit loads of greens on that first day, second day, and I was like, all right, he can go low here, and then just didn't make the putts, and that's the same on Sunday.
There's a few people who that happened for. Lowry was the same kind of job. He just could not get putts to drop. Like even on 18, he had maybe like a 12-footer-ish for just to finish with a birdie on 18, and he just. It looked like Xander had some sort of cheat sheet on the greens really to kind of just know where every time he stood to a putt, you're like, oh, this is going in.
He's so consistent. He looks so good over the ball. Like you say, yeah, he just didn't look like he was going to miss. Whereas Rose had that kind of that bit. Where
Speaking of Horschel, that video we filmed at the Open last year where we did the crossbar challenge?
Oh my god, yeah.
It resurfaced on social yesterday. Yeah, I saw it again. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that.
That was a crossbar challenge, wasn't it?
Can't believe people are still watching that video.
Such a random video.
Yeah, that was odd.
But yeah, well done, Billy. I mean, we do need to. And I was speaking to a few of the guys who were doing comms with this week, and they raised a point which I think he's very, very good, to be honest. That's not a great word for it. A very good point. Very prescient. Very prescient.
Okay.
If you finish like second in a major championship, that is brilliant.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Like that is an incredible result. Like the majors, they're the toughest ones to win. It brings together the best players on the toughest courses. You know, it's golf's truest challenge. If you finish top 5 in that, you know, that's a real career high. That's fantastic play. But we just get into this mindset of the Tiger era that if you don't win, like it's a failure.
Yeah,
when it's really not.
Yeah, which is you know you said we're going to get onto Rory. I will put Rory in that category. Like I had a little bit of a a go at him, but I was kind of very hard on him in the group chat.
You had a rant.
Yeah, basically I was saying that like, you know, he has not showed up at all this year. There's absolutely no way he should even be near the top 3 in the world. You know, there's players who have played consistently better than him this year. You know, he turns up to a couple of like dodgy DP World and PGA events and gets enough points to win the. And you know, it's absolutely mad. I just don't.
Such a stinky take.
I just think like I think him and who are we talking about? Who's going to be years until he wins? And who's never going to win another major? But Wyndham Clark. There we go. Wyndham Clark and Rory Mcilroy are the same. They will never win again because they're just not good enough.
You cannot compare Rory and Wyndham Clark, and you cannot say that Rory's never going to. He's won like 3 times this year.
Yeah, but none of those matter. And one of them was with Shane, so he won half. He's won 2.5 times.
None of those matter.
They're not real events.
Unbelievable.
I felt very, very, very sorry for Rory on that second round. I just felt so sad about it. Like
I must be honest. I didn't feel sorry for him. You know, listen, he's a professional golfer. You went to these tournaments. If you're the very best golfer literally on the planet, you're only going to be winning like 3% of all the comps that you play in. Like these guys aren't going to be winning every single week. But with Rory, kind of watching him on the range, he was striking it great. But I must admit, he had a bad first round, and his body language on the second round when I was watching him, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
And he approached that first tee, and as he came out of the tunnel, like he let out like such an exasperated breath. It was a look on his face that said, "Oh, not this again."
He literally looked like he was just, even from the first. I mean, he hit driver on the first, which said to the people watching, "I'm trying to go. I'm trying to get this back to where I think it should be."
Yeah.
But you know, through that front 9, he was just terrible.
I just think that like why I felt sorry for him is because like, you know, even he said it in the interview, like those after he made that 8, the next 14 holes that he had or ever so holes he had, he just
went through
were meaningless. And he knew, you know, he knows that, you know, for the next couple of days and, you know, for, you know, what people are going to be talking about is all about his results, and no one's going to be talking about the others, because, you know, there's other people and other golfers that did struggle, you know, and you know, some of the best players in the world that struggled that no one will talk about.
But what's most annoying about that, Kieran, is that he went out trying to make a score in the second round, realised that it didn't matter because he wasn't going to make it, and then played his best golf of the tournament. He was 12 holes, bogey free. He birdied. Did he birdie 8? No, I can't remember. But when his brain was like, it doesn't matter, I can relax, I can just enjoy myself, he was the best in the field.
Yeah. I think every golfer's like that into some respect. You know, every golfer listening to this, and us included, we can relate to the fact that we have a bad round, and at the end we're like, oh, whatever. And then the last 3 holes, that will have a couple of pars and a birdie, and that's what keeps you coming back.
Yeah. You're like, oh my God, I hit that green.
Yeah, because that's what I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
And it just keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
But,
I feel like just Rory, this year, Rory has just done that in the majors. There has been like one round or like, you know, a 9 where he has been so bad that it's just, he cannot get it back.
Yeah, and I think the scorers were saying it great. I mean, when Rory's on form, he's, you know, the best, one of the best, if not the best player in the world. But obviously, when it's not good, he does seem to have a bit of a drastic.
Yeah.
When he's on his best, he's really good. When he's not firing, he's.
Yeah, the difference is Scotty, right? Scotty has a bad round, he still shoots 72.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, obviously, Rory
the most
has finished second, and he finished second.
Exactly. Exactly.
He should have won that. Yes, a couple of bad putts.
Beaten by YouTuber.
Although I do have to say his shot on the sixth, he laid up the par 5.
Oh, I remember this one.
And he had like 90 yards.
Oh,
and is it almost like a 20-yard pull?
But you know,
Oh my God.
You know, hitting 8 iron. So he was hitting. So the build up for the commentators of that was, he's got an 8 iron. He's just going to flight it down. I really like this. And then he's just hit this sort of loop in.
There was no way that was an 8 iron.
He did. No, it wasn't. No, because I remember watching it because it was that bad. He went left. I remember seeing it. It was
past the crowd.
On the left. I remember.
I will have to have a look. Even if you try to hit 9 iron from there, that's a shocking decision either.
Yeah, because it was into wind.
It wasn't that into wind.
Yeah,
it was only 90 yards away.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. That because the commentator was like, he's got an 8 iron here. He's going to punch it down into it, and he said he loved the play of it, and he just I remember the shot. So
anyway,
you can have a look. But
the replay of that, when they were talking about what had happened in that shot, when he comes down towards the ball, his bottom half doesn't move, and it's just he just flips his hands over and it goes. Yeah, like how can you do that in a major championship if you call yourself one of the best players in the world?
Yeah.
Sack it off.
Mick,
quit.
He can't let Rory do
I think this is what I said. Rory should have 12 months off. Right, from today, he should have 12 months sabbatical. Sack up. Don't play any of the majors next year. Don't play any tournament next year. Go and play on some really dodgy tour somewhere else. Learn how to be hungry and angry again. Come back and win.
How will that make him hungry and angry?
Because he won't be getting paid millions of pounds to play dodgy golf every week.
This is such a bad take.
This is a bad take.
This is like literally the worst take in the world.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just keep hoping he's going to win, and then when he doesn't win, we'll be angry.
Tell how bad of a take it was, because when I got my phone, you were like angry WhatsApping, because it wasn't one message. No. It was
yeah. So, and Kieran had to ask me if I'd had any beers.
Yeah,
as well.
I thought you'd had a beer.
Oh yeah, I thought you'd had a few. I thought you were in a pub leaning on the bar.
It was Friday at about 2:00. I was still editing.
Unbelievable. Some other players who kind of just fell short. Lowry had a great chance, had a brutal third round, especially on that kind of back 9. Just fell away. He didn't quite get it together on the Sunday, which was a bit of a disappointment. I think everyone would have wanted to see him kind of come through.
Yeah, one of the other ones we called out before the tournament who we thought was going to win.
Was that back 9 not just unbelievable though?
We've only seen it on TV, so what was it actually like?
So I have to say, I went around on the Tuesday, so I did a full course walkthrough. Basically filmed every single hole, kind of looking at the course planner, kind of figuring out exactly what was going on. The wind switched very dramatically. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was the prevailing wind, so your normal wind at Troon. And the back 9 was going to be playing super hard, but the front 9 was going to be playing very easy because it was all downwind. It switched, so it was pretty much a crosswind, and then it was hurting on a few holes, helping on a few holes, but it was strong as well. Even with that, I was walking around on that Tuesday, and there were a few tees that I stood on, and I felt nervous.
Walking.
10th and 11th.
Like, I didn't even have a club in my hands. And I was stood on those tees, and I was getting like a bit twitchy, just imagining hitting a shot there.
Yeah.
Like honestly, that 11th hole was the most confusing thing to look at ever, because you're just looking at a wall of course
and a train track.
Yeah.
Every time that you've played it, we've always played it from the left, haven't we?
It's been on the left, yeah. So that's like the tournament tee. So we've never actually teed off there, and it was just terrifying.
So from the normal tee, can you see the fairway?
Yes, a lovely looking hole. Yeah. Lovely looking.
And then it's like slightly left to the green.
Yeah, but like off the back tees, it's like not dogleg right, but the fairway sits at a slight angle to the right.
Right, okay.
And it pushes everything towards the train track. And then if you try and be brave and hit it left, that's where there's gorse
like
bushes.
Run out into the, got you.
Honestly, it's like, I think it's probably the hardest golf hole I've ever seen at a major.
Wow.
It was so hard. Yeah. And it was... with the wind, I can't explain how different the wind made it. So after the 11th is the 12th, and normally it's a 450-yard par 4, tough, but for these guys, they can hit it 300 yards. But none of them were hitting drivers during the practice round, because the fairway, at about 230 yards, had a big ridge that ran down. So you could hit like a 3-iron for these guys, pitch it on that ridge and still get about 280 yards out of it.
Right, okay, so tactical.
So everyone, and it's really tight. So everyone's just like irons. as soon as it's tournament days, it's like a 30-mile-an-hour wind into your face, 450 yards, narrowest fairway on the golf course, and you have to hit a driver.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God. And there were so many people who struggled on it. And the whole of the back nine was like that. It was like a fight. It was a real battle.
Do you think the golf course was too hard?
No. Yeah. I don't think it was too hard for these guys. And the beauty of the Open, and this is what I love about the Open, is if it played the prevailing wind, the normal wind, and it was beautiful and sunny, nice and warm, there was no rain, these guys, the winning score probably would have been about 16 under, say. Mm-hmm. But what the R&A do, they set up the course as fair as they think it should be, and then they just let the weather do whatever it wants. So if the winning score at Troon was 17 over, fine. Yeah. Whatever. That's just the weather. Yeah, we didn't do anything. We couldn't do anything about it. Of course, we're set up. Go play. Whoever has the lowest score, you're going to win.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah, but like a US Open, for example, they want the winning score to be around level, whereas the Open, they don't care.
Yeah,
like it could be whatever it wants to be, as long as it's a good week.
Yeah,
which I think is a pretty British attitude.
That's a very British attitude. Yeah, exactly.
And fair, like you say. I think that's a good word to say, is that it was a very fair golf course, and that's what everyone was saying was a very fair golf course.
It was fair to the extent that they were all playing it.
Yeah.
Honestly, though,
from the same tees.
From the same tees.
Yeah.
There were a few holes that I would say, if you're thinking about par, like if you want to have a par on a hole, there are a few that, let's say the 11th, for example, it was a par 4, but every single one of those players would have been thinking, you know what, if I get a 4 here, that's like a birdie and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be gaining so many strokes on the field. So it was tough. It was fair. I think the final round was probably the best day overall as well, which helped. You know, you saw a few low scores. That third round, when the rain came in, honestly, I'm a pretty keen golfer. All right?
Yeah.
And I love to play. Playing golf's one of the best things in the world. You'd have had to get 12 horses to drag me onto that course.
We'd have to have been filming a course vlog with Tiger to get you out there.
Honestly, he wouldn't have come. It was horrible.
Well, it was Saturday, so he wouldn't have been there anyway.
Ooh, brutal. We'll get onto that in a minute. Colin, my main man. It was, honestly, it was grim. Like, I can't even imagine what I would have shot off those back tees that day.
Well, there was a graphic that came up that said, which might have been from the third day, which was the worst hole on each score added up.
That was the second day.
The second day.
It was the second day.
Right,
And
okay.
I've got it. It's
Oh my God, you have got it.
So
wow.
The worst score per hole today, so this is on Saturday, accumulated to a plus 53, 124, par of 71. You see, the last hole, worst score was a 5, because this was the day when the last was playing directly downwind.
Downwind,
and people were driving the bunkers on next to the green.
Yeah, almost getting near the green. And I think that would have been a fair representation of what a kind of 15 handicapper would have scored that day, or 10 handicapper.
I'd be delighted with 124.
Honestly. It's kind of hard to explain, like the distance, the way that the holes were angled, the bunkers. The fairway bunkers were the hardest bunkers I've ever seen in my life. I think there was maybe one on the 16th, sorry, the par 5, left of the fairway, and then the first two bunkers on the left of 18. Both of those, if you went into, you could advance it forward maybe about 100 yards.
Right.
Almost every other single fairway bunker, you had to come out sideways.
Yeah, we saw Rahm chipping out sideways. We saw Rory going sideways. On 18 on day 4, Lawrence was in the right-hand bunker on 18 and tried to go for the green. I think he tried to hit 8-iron from that bunker.
Yeah, no chance.
Hits it into the lip, flies over his head, and lands on the grass behind him.
Yeah.
He was so good. He was doing trick shots on the day.
Just like no chance.
Impossible.
Yeah. And I think that's why, again, it goes back to the course being fair, because everybody knew. Like, there wasn't any luck involved.
Right,
if you went in one of these bunkers, you were not going to be able to go for the green if you were in the fairways. And the greenside bunkers, they were really deep, but they actually produced some great shots.
Oh, we saw some, particularly on the postage stamp, we saw some incredible bunker shots. Tell us about the postage stamp. Because, Kieran, you've been to Troon. You've walked around it.
Yeah,
you
a fair few times.
You
now,
filmed Pete play there.
Yeah, yeah.
Pete has a pretty good record on the whole. Do you think it's good, or do you think it's a bit like it's a bit of a gimmicky short par 3 just for the cameras?
Postage stamp, good or gimmick? I think it's brilliant. Honestly, I think it's one of the best par 3s in the world. I think it's better than, say, the 17th at Sawgrass, which is iconic.
That's a bold one.
No, the 17th is iconic, and obviously want to play there, it'd be fantastic. But the postage stamp has different difficulties and different consequences. If you miss the green on 17th Sawgrass, you're in the water. It's pretty simple. Well, you got that front bunker as well, but at the postage stamp, you've got all these bunkers, all these runoffs, you've got the wind, you've got all the factors that make such a short hole so difficult. And you can have birdies and you can have triples.
Yeah.
And that's what you want from a little par 3. You want that drama. And the setting there with the grandstand and the view, everything about that hole is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, you don't need to make a par 3 interesting just making it 250 yards and making it hard. Like, I mean, what was the shortest it ever played? 100 yards?
100 yards,
yeah. On the final day.
And, some of the best players in the world were getting 5s. So it's just, that's a great hole for me.
That pin position on the final day was actually the easiest pin position.
Yeah, it was.
Right in the middle,
it was.
at the front.
Yeah. Do you reckon they wanted something? They wanted maybe a little bit.
hole in one.
Yeah, something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Speaking of hole in one, we did have a hole in one.
We did. See you again.
17th?
17th, yeah.
And that was 200.
That was hard.
238 yards or something. That was insane.
that was the scare. Obviously 11, but then that was my second one where I thought that just looks horrible. It just looks absolutely horrible.
So to put it in context as well, that 17th, let's say contrast the couple of days, Rory hit an 8-iron into there.
Yeah.
And then...
notably long player.
Yeah. But, he's a long player,
Yeah.
but he's an 8-iron.
But 8-iron, 220 something yards.
And then you go on to the third day and they're not reaching
With a 3
with a 3.
The last group both hit driver into it.
Little mini drivers. I mean, what a great advertisement for Links Golf that is. And it just shows what a difference that the weather conditions make at these courses.
Yeah.
I think with the whole course, it was a great advertisement for how much of a challenge and what a wonderful test Links Golf can be. And probably will just increase the clamour of people to say we need more links. We need to see this more often because it is so different than anything else that we play.
Yeah. It's just not. It's not all about target golf. It's about real sort of strategy, and it's brilliant.
And we saw the target golfers not do particularly well. So.
Yeah. So I thought that I sort of said in the start of this week obviously wasn't on the pod last week, but speaking to the guys, I was like, I didn't think Scotty was going to do well this week because I just didn't think he was, with the wind and everything, such a target golfer. So he was actually my biggest surprise this week. With how well he did. So
yeah, but also very creative. Got a good golf brain on him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's not just a mash it and hack it type.
I just thought he was just going to go for it pin high every time, and then sort of think he can stop it. But which is what he's used to. But
Scotty putted terribly.
He did.
Even on the practice green, he just didn't look. He didn't look comfortable. I think when the greens get slower and he's got to hit it a little bit harder, I think that's when he struggles.
Well, he had that 4-putt from 20 foot on the last day. It was
it's not ideal
because he was in it. He was involved.
He was
on that last day, and then
the surprise was that he wasn't. That he didn't fix that to an extent where he could compete because he was striking it great all throughout the tournament, apart from when he topped it on the.
Oh yeah, that was it.
What was that?
That
was
weird. That's got to be just his brain going, "This is over."
His head's just what? I can't wait to get in this clubhouse right now.
He was holding his back, but that was
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It might even have been the second day. Langast on 8.
He withdrew. Yeah,
he fatted he hit his tee shot short into the gorse. Tried to chip out and then went to the ref. Was like, because of my back, I'm
done.
I'm not playing anymore.
I'm out of it. He knew what was coming.
Did you?
There you go. You're on.
We're on.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Obviously on the on the second green to the left. There's the house. Did you see that house is for sale?
It's for sale. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see how much it is?
Well, it was. You had to inquire for the price. I'm presuming someone did.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw 1.4.
1.4.
That's actually not bad.
Bargain.
That's actually a real bargain.
Big house as well.
There you go. If
Big
you're
house.
listening to this or watching this on YouTube, if you are, please subscribe. Let's get a syndicate together.
Timeshare.
You know what?
You always said it when we went. You were like, as soon as that come up, so it might be fate. Just like the chewing gum in the bin on Pinehurst. It's just fate.
Throwing chewing gum into a bin to seal where I'm going to move to is a little bit different than finding £1.4 million.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you are right.
I'm not chewing that at the moment.
No. That still needs to happen, though.
Move to Pinehurst?
That needs to happen.
Let's do it.
Because you did it the other day, didn't you? Where was it where you tried it another time? I think we were in Ireland about moving over to Ireland, moving there, and you missed it. So it just shows the fate of... And you were closer.
We need an ongoing scoreboard of where we're moving to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying to everyone there that if I could, I would move up to Scotland.
It's got to be that coast for you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
There's so many great courses all back to it. There was an ongoing, very high plane flyover, which was showing, the sea and all the courses, and you could see, the next
Everything.
the next
Yeah,
one is
yeah.
you could hit from one to the next if you really wanted to.
Well, I didn't realise the range where I was working all week kind of took part of the second course at Troon, at Royal Troon.
Yeah, because there's 3, aren't there?
Two at Royal Troon. Then there's the Troon Links, which is a little bit away. That looks really good. It looked really good. I've not played on it before, but it looked really cool. And it was a much better setup at this Open because that range was like, pretty much on the course.
Yeah.
Like Royal Liverpool was a bit tough because you had to cross the road and all the rest of it. So, yeah, this week was much better.
Yeah. And then Prestwick's just up from there.
Yeah.
You got Western Gales, Glasgow Gales, Dundonald's up there, loads of good stuff. So
all within sort of like a 7-mile radius.
If we were going to move, that would be high up on my list.
We always used to go there, didn't we?
So we've talked about how a 15 handicap would get round because we've got the worst score of the of that day of the second day. As a scratch golfer PGA Pro, how are you getting round that course? Let's say a good weather scenario and a bad weather scenario.
Like a Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
I think good weather. Are we talking about tournament pressure as well?
Back tees, crowd,
Oh man,
people shouting "Huck too" in your
don't. I'll get on to that. I think off those back tees, tournament conditions at the moment, like low 80s. Like low 80s, I think would be a genuinely good score.
Good weather.
Yeah. Well, I think around 10, 12 over around that golf course, like right now, would actually be really good. If I was playing my very best golf, so like what I was playing in the middle of the year, breaking 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, breaking 80. It all depends, obviously, what the weather. If I was playing on that Saturday, 90.
Well, it's weird that you mentioned 90 because Aguri Iwasaki, who is a Japanese golfer who qualified through some sort of Japanese qualifying system, on the second round, he shot 91.
Yeah.
And he had 2 back-to-back 9s on a par 4 and a par 3.
Thing is, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised. There were quite a few 80s out there. I was surprised there weren't more high 80s.
Yeah, 91's
91 is a lot of shots, admittedly.
It's a lot of shots.
Like he's had a really good session there.
grinding.
I do want to know how he got the 9 on the par 3. I want to know how he got that.
So bunker. I think it was on 14. Maybe it was 14 a par 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he hits a bunker. It takes him 3 shots to get out of the bunker, and he's not even on the green. Chips onto the green, 3 putts or 2 putts.
Wow. Thanks for coming.
His par 3 scoring average was the same on that day as Tiger Woods. So there you go. Colin Montgomery was right.
Poor Tiger. Yeah, this was kind of earlier in the week where I've got to be honest. Like, I think Colin Montgomery's remarks were taken slightly out of context. He basically said nobody wants to see Tiger struggling in the majors. So if he's not ready to play in the Open, then he shouldn't play. Which, you know, it's completely up to Tiger what he wants to do. You know,
I kind of agree with that.
He's exempt till he's 60. And then Tiger came back, in all fairness, with a very funny remark, saying, I'm exempt till I'm 60 because I've won the Open, and Colin wouldn't know that because he's never won a major. Which was like, oh, boom. But he said it with a smile. You know, it was a bit of a dig, but it was quite a funny one. Like, everyone had a laugh. And then Tiger, had a bad time.
I went down a list of players who missed the cut, and the list of players who missed the cut looked like, if you'd have told someone who hadn't seen the tournament what the top 10 was going to be, it could very well have been all of the players who missed the cut.
Yeah.
It was insane.
I mean, the draw made a huge difference. So the early starters on the Thursday compared to the later starters really did get hit with like some of the worst weather. And you are right. I mean, you know, O'Burr, like he was a very much a
I called it. I wanted him to. I had him to win the thing.
Yeah. DeChambeau. DeChambeau's like plan for this course went completely out the window. By the way. But yeah, he obviously missed the cut. Wyndham Clark, you know, major champion, he missed the cut. And there was a big group, Rory. There was a big group of players that, like you said, you would expect them to be right around top of the leaderboard.
Hovland missed the cut.
Hovland, got completely blown away.
Homer only just made it by one shot on the last.
That was good.
I think that was why I was really impressed with Rose as well, because Rose went out in the worst conditions of the Thursday, Friday as well, and still, you know, was scoring, you know, very respectably. So
it was like Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas was the same.
Oh God, that second round.
He went out.
My God, yeah.
He went out in the worst of the conditions. Shot a couple under. You think, oh my God, like this, he is there.
Yeah.
And then just had like 45 going out at the front.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. But then brought it back.
Brought it back.
Yeah, brought it back. Yeah,
You had Marcel Siem, didn't you?
Yeah. So I had in my bets I had Marcel Siem at 350 to 1. And then so he shot 2 over first day, and then front 9 he went out first thing with Ewan Ferguson, and there was just a 2. So I don't know if there was an issue with another guy, he might have withdrawn or something like that. But they went out as a 2 ball. Barely any wind on that morning of the Friday. Shot 5 under the front 9. I was like,
oh my God,
what's going on here?
He's going.
So I thought that was going to be all right, but then he shot 5 over back 9. So it was just
consistent,
like,
even it out.
Yeah, so it was that was a bit of a getting the heart going at that point.
Well, so Pete, you were on the range all week, right? These guys, they can only really prepare for what they've practiced. They can prepare for the weather that they're seeing on the day. Yeah. Like, were they doing anything different than what you expect to see on a normal range? You know, you're there with, you talk about Bryson, whose plan completely went out the window. He blamed his equipment for not being right. You know, well, yeah, it's not a great excuse. Your equipment won you the US Open a couple of weeks ago. So, what was it like on the range, and how close did you get to Tiger? Did you do a lot of waiting around doing nothing? Were you made to sign things? Did you post for any photos?
It was... So I was doing live at the range, which is a live stream. It's on Sky, so it was on NBC as well this year, apparently, which
That's
a few people were messaging me about. But from the Monday to the Wednesday, or Monday to the Friday, but Monday to the Wednesday, the main days, where we're getting players, we're interviewing them, we're going through their practice routines. You know, it's pretty cool. And I was lucky because I was managing to stand in a spot when Tiger came on the range and like literally just went right in front of me. So he had a few security people around him, but I wasn't moving.
Yeah.
I was like, mate,
I was here first.
I am standing right here.
Like a big leafy elm.
Yeah, I planted my feet, took root, and I was like, you're not moving me at all. And it was single-handedly one of the most impressive bits of ball striking I've seen. It was so consistent. Like throughout his irons, the same peak trajectory, the strike, the flight. It was one after the other. It was bang, bang, bang. Beautiful to watch. Like to watch him that close and to see him swing like that was getting me a little bit like pumped up. I was like, oh my God, like he's actually still unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. But then he took like a step back, and just the way he was standing, you could just tell how uncomfortable he was. And as soon as he walked off the range, I was like, he's going to struggle. Like, and I should have put a bet on, really, because I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah.
He was going to get to that first tee. He was going to have a good first few holes. I think he was like 1 under through 3. Mm-hmm. And then he just started to tire. He started to get stiff. And the conditions for him this week...
They don't help, do they?
They were so far away from being right for him. Like, it was cold, it was windy. There was no way he was going to be loose. But to watch him on the range and to be that close was... I'll remember that for a long time.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
You interviewed Rory as well.
Interviewed Rory again, yeah?
That was... When we saw you on TV, we were all working very hard and not just watching the golf coverage. We all stopped furiously editing our videos and tuned in to watch you and Di
Stuart.
rip Rory's outfit apart. He forgot his belt on that day. That was
He did
funny.
forget his belt, yeah.
Yeah, which probably didn't help him. Probably why he didn't make the cut. His trousers kept falling down.
He had one by the first tee.
Of course he
I
did.
did check.
Excuse me, have you got a belt? You have. How was that? We talk about these players every week. It must be very strange to suddenly be like, it's like when, I mean, it's not the same level, but when people meet you and they've watched you on YouTube for years and years, they're like, oh my God, are you? Was it like that?
So Rory didn't quite react like that. He did say good to see you again, though.
Okay.
So he's remembered a face.
Subscribe.
I personally think he was just being really polite.
Oh, right.
But if he's being interviewed by someone, generally he's going to have met them
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it might be one of those. But I was a lot more comfortable. I felt a bit under the weather really kind of throughout the week. So I was just desperately trying not to like be ill on him. But managed to keep it together. And it was nice. Like he's very, whenever you speak to him, he's very kind of open. He's natural. Like he's not withdrawn. There were a lot of players on the range who just didn't want to be kind of spoken to.
Yeah,
at
don't
all.
talk to me type job.
Like I always think this last few that I've worked with Victor Hovland. Like Victor Hovland seems to be like the nicest person in the world, but when he's when I've seen him at tournaments, like he's locked in. Like he doesn't speak to anybody. He doesn't do any interviews. He doesn't sign any autographs. He's just like in his zone. And he could just see he wants to win. He's not going to be distracted by anything.
Don't talk to me about my head cover or my belt. I'm here to win.
He's done. Like, doesn't want anyone behind him. He doesn't want anything.
Was there anyone who was just having a great time on the range?
It's quite a few. I mean, caught up with Liam Nolan, who kind of qualified him to Dundonald. Like, he's been on the channel before. And he was, as you may expect, having a fantastic time.
Just every minute of it.
He had a brilliant moment. So I was doing the comms at this point, just like chatting about people in range. And it was when I was the first day, so when I wasn't behind Tiger. And we were talking about him. And then there was a space behind Tiger. And Liam just like snuck in there. So like Tiger was hitting in front of him. He was behind him. And you could just see it was like laughing. There was a lad, Song, who had a really good first round. I think he was like 4 or 5 under at one point, and he was leading. And he had this like little entourage with him. And he was at one point on the range, and Tiger was behind him. And all his entourage were like pretending to take videos of Song, and then just moved around to the side and was secretly filming Tiger instead. I'm sure this lad never got a single video that day. And then they took turns like moving to the side.
Yeah.
Again, pretend to film, moved, took a picture. And then one of the guys was like, I did a little selfie with him. Honestly, it was so funny.
You would though, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, of course you
got to
would.
use
Yeah.
the opportunity. If you get, that might be the one time you're that close to him.
It was brilliant. It was so funny.
People don't go up to him and say, like, I mean, you guys didn't speak to Tiger.
No, you couldn't get closer.
Yeah, I was going to say you can't.
That's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah. He has like a proper. So he had 2 security guys with him at all times, and then he's got like his caddy and other people like surrounding him. Like you're not going to get close. I got close enough just because I was stood there.
Yeah.
And I got lucky. But Bryson was great. He was in good form. He's definitely carrying on this kind of new attitude of just trying to be more engaging and happy and like being along for the ride. He was talking to everyone. He was really, really open. Yeah, it was great.
We did catch you on TV dapping him up, which was really lovely to see.
He was a nice guy. I mean, just because of like the stuff I've never spoke to him before this point, but I think just because he's making YouTube videos, he obviously knows what's going on in that space.
Yeah.
He knows who the goats are.
Don't go that far. But he came over, said hello. We had a quick chat. Busted him a few times. I think we're basically best friends.
Okay, that's really good. So, coming on the channel when?
I've just missed him.
But you see, but
I cancelled.
I put it in the chat because obviously it's Liv this week, so he's gonna surely be
down
here.
Down JCB, won't he?
Yeah. So I'm assuming he's going to be somewhere.
Listen, it was just an initial intro.
Yeah.
It was just like a quick hello. It was just making sure that he didn't think I was completely weird, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, we'll move on from this initial one to become friends later down the line,
Like super duper best friends.
Yeah. Did you get close to the jug?
Touch the jug.
No, you're not allowed to touch it.
I could do whatever I want. You know what I mean?
Touched it.
There was a lot of. I've got a bit about the jug actually, but there was a lot of waiting around in between. So like I got quite a few pictures where I did a few stories, went on tour trucks and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Like it's the only thing with live broadcasting which is difficult. It's not so much when you're doing it; it's everything in between. You're waiting. You sat there. You're not. You just, if you sit down, you're struggling to stay awake because there's nothing for you to do. And especially in those conditions as well, when it's raining, like you get inside somewhere warm. It's like,
I'm not going back out there.
Yeah,
it's like when you're having to wait on the group in front of you to hit your tee shot.
Honestly,
seize up real quick.
But
couldn't you just borrow a wedge and
just get on the end of the range?
Yeah.
Have a little grind.
Did you hit any shots?
No.
Last year you hit some shots, didn't you, on the range? Or was it at St Andrews?
I think it was St Andrews,
St.
yeah.
Andrews,
and that was part of like a video.
Yeah,
bit.
it was,
Next time I'm going to request.
I don't know how you resisted it. I would have just... if you see someone you know well enough to be like, inspecting the bag. Oh, cool! You've got to get one out. A couple of practice swings.
It's pretty easy to resist.
Yeah.
When you're like, if you've not had a warm up, but everyone knows like that first wedge shot on the range is gonna be fat. So I'm not gonna like pull in front of Tiger and be like, a fat wedge.
Do you remember? This is taking you a little bit back, but do you remember at the BMW when we were filming the Pro-Am, and you're there, and you were with. Who's the...
Dan Walker.
Dan Walker was on your left, and also Theo Walcott, and the very cool YouTubey guy who's very tall and very nice.
Freezy?
Max Fosh.
Max Fosh was there, and we were filming you, and lots of people were like, oh, Pete. You get on your fat. The first wedge is so fat.
You have to. Any first shot on the grass range is going to be a fat. Like, it has to be.
Oh, it was so good. It was such a build-up to you hitting your first shot, and then it was just mud.
If you don't fat it with your first shot, well, you're not even trying. What's the point?
Work harder, man.
Work harder. And in between, I was just chatting a lot. I chatted to a lot of people this week, like a lot of selfies. I've made it, or I've officially made it.
Talk to me.
I've officially made it. Okay.
So let me think what that means. You... A professional golfer asked you for a photo.
I mean, that happens all the time. On a side note, before I got onto the fact why I've made it. Amazing how many people, not so much the established pros, but like a lot of people we've worked with and like a lot of the amateurs were talking about how they've watched the videos in preparation.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. Well,
That's so
like
cool.
your Troon videos?
Yeah, Troon vids. Yeah.
Oh, really? Right.
Which is really cool. Like, but imagine if you've not played there before, or not even in golf, if you want to learn something new.
Yeah.
Like YouTube is one of the places you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense. No, at the back of the range there was like this little section for people to get autographs, and it was mostly just like primary school kids and like just getting autographs. And I went there a few times.
David.
Yeah, I went there a few times, and it was funny, but it was also a bit like weird. Where I got called over the first day, like this kid's, oh Pete, can you sign this? I was like, yeah, cool. So I signed this flag, and he was at like the end of this row, and then the next person said, oh Pete, can you sign this? Yeah, fine. And then I signed a few more, but it was plainly obvious that the further down the line I got, like these kids just thought I was a player.
God, that's
So they were
good luck out there today.
Yeah, it was like, good luck this week. Can I have a glove? I was like, I don't have one.
I've only got my woolly ones to keep me warm on the range.
So I was like going down and signing it, and because I couldn't say no, because that would have been like really rude. But at the same time, I'm like, listen, I'm signing this. They're going to be looking up the names of the people who've played. And they're like, who is that?
Shall I sign it on the back?
Yeah, so I made it a little bit like unlegible.
Xander.
Yeah, just put an X everywhere. And they were saying, "Oh, thanks for coming over. There's not many players who've come over." I said, "Not a problem." And anyway, I made it.
You're welcome.
And anyway, I made it because on one of the days I got called over. And if you're listening to this, I'll try and explain the best I can. If you're watching it, I'll do a demonstration. So I was signing these flags. Little Jimmy said, "Oh, thanks. Oh, I'm a subscriber. Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks, little Jimmy." Sign his flag. Sign a hat. It's like, "Oh, thanks." Going down, then all of a sudden, through the children, a baby is thrust like back to me. Like diaper first.
It goes, good luck out there this week.
Look, it's thrust towards me. And I'm like, right. And then the mum says, "Oh, could you sign my baby?"
No way!
And I was like,
You didn't sign a baby.
well, I didn't really know what to do. I was like, is this because it had a white, the child had like a white jumpsuit on. And it had
baby grow.
It had a couple of signatures on the back already. And then the mum handed me like a marker. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to sign this bloody baby. So I'm trying to write on this baby's back. And obviously it's tickling the baby. So the baby's squirming everywhere. It's wiggling everywhere.
Oh, my God.
So I'm trying to sign. So it takes more concentration. I'm thinking like, should I hold this baby still? Like,
How hard can I squeeze this baby to keep it still?
Should I grab the baby?
Let me hold that. Baby, come meet Tiger.
So I just grabbed the baby and just... So I signed this baby and I'm like... There was a couple of things going through my head. First of all, I was like, I hope that nobody's filming this because this is really weird. And the second time I was thinking, you know what? I hope someone's filming this because I'm signing a baby. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is happening here? Oh, man. If you did come up for a picture and you did want anything signed that week, it was brilliant. Like, it just shows how widely watched the videos are because, like, if I left the range as well and I just walked over to the shop or like at a meeting, say hospitality or something like that, I wasn't able to go like 15 steps.
Well, that's cool.
And it was brilliant. There were so many people all from all around the world as well. It was really, really cool. It was kind of, yeah, it was mind blowing how many people.
Man, that's so cool.
It was great. I loved it. Yeah. And so anyway, yeah. So if anybody wants me to sign a baby, please don't ask because it's really embarrassing.
What are you willing to sign? Have you got your photos with you in the Claret Jug? You didn't pick it up, did you?
No, it was screwed down to the plinth.
There's going to be in it because of the wind.
But I do have a story about the Claret Jug, and I learned this week.
Okay.
And I don't think many people know this. Okay, there is not one Claret Jug. There are 5 Claret Jugs. Okay. The one Claret Jug, the true Claret Jug, the original, in its purest form, that stays in the RNA Clubhouse in St Andrews. It's the one, but that is like given, presented, and then it's into the clubhouse. It doesn't leave. It stays right there, safe, lock and key.
So what does Xander take with him?
He takes the player's Claret Jug. So there is a Claret Jug, which is an exact replica in every way, apart from a few dints and scratches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cam Smith.
Names will not be named who dint this thing, Tom Watson, but the player's jug goes with the players each year.
Yeah.
So it's not the original. The original's back in the RNA Clubhouse. They take the player's jug. And then there are 3 more.
No.
There are 3 more Claret Jugs, and they go on like tours. So let's say you're going to qualify through the amateur championship. So they have the Claret Jug there. It's like you will get through. You will have a spot.
This is what you're playing for.
Yeah. Like there
was one in Dundonald.
Yeah, Dundonald. Yeah, so like the final qualifying things. If they want one there, if they're doing any press tours, they take one of these 3, which are replicas, but they're not the originals.
That is amazing.
The only one I think about is, what about Prestwick? That one in Prestwick. What is that one? Is that like
it's a replica? Yeah.
Just right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's not as big, is it? And it's got like a much less sort of thing. Yeah.
So yeah, there's the one true Claret Jug, but that is very rarely brought out.
Wow. It's very cool that.
Yeah.
So what one? So you've got a replica on the range.
Yeah. So we had one of the 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the players jug, that's the one that they take away with them.
And wasn't there one on the first tee as well?
Yeah,
on the first tee.
replica.
Yeah. Obviously,
Oh my God, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
How have they got one on the range and then they cut to the...
It's cool, isn't it?
Oh, God, they're good.
Like gremlins, you just throw water on them, they multiply.
Don't feed it after dark.
So yeah, I learned that. Did not know that, and I thought that was pretty
That's
cool.
very cool. That's a very cool story. Who did you find that off?
No
Oh,
one.
you're not allowed to know.
No one.
Right.
But someone was slipping me information on the Claret Jug on the range.
Oh, right.
Really?
Yeah, like apparently the players' jug, it gets battered.
Oh, I can
Really?
imagine.
Well, you can just imagine like what the players do. Like Darren, someone from Northern Ireland was saying
Oh my
about
God. Sorry, we'll cut that out. We'll bleep it.
was basically saying like when he won, he took the jug and he was in a pub
Yeah.
and like he wanted, you know, he was having a few to drink and everything, and you know, a few people wanted to have a look at it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he like passed it round, and all of a sudden, you know, it had gone. You know, it was off around the pub. Like he was in a separate room and he just like let it go.
Wow.
Which is like fair enough. It came back finally and it was completely bent from the plane.
No.
It was like in the wrong direction. And it was like, oh my God, what's happened? Someone was like messing around, dropped it and bent it.
Well, I remember Shane Lowry went and took it out in Dublin after he won it
Yeah.
at Port Rush. So that was,
That's the thing,
that's
like-
actually mad, isn't it? When you think about it, yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So the unnamed player called Darren Clark had to bend, had to basically bend it back. Another one was about like Tom Watson apparently when he was practicing it, practicing in his front room. He has the Claret Jug there on like a table or something.
Of course.
Takes a backswing, just
Oh
dints the side of it,
Oh, God.
takes it to his workshop and like hammers it back into shape. Honestly, like
Don't you bring someone qualified?
That's mad, that.
That is
actually
wild.
mad.
I heard Brian Harmon was shooting bullets at his in the woods in Colorado
it's a
somewhere.
bow. He uses a bow.
Yeah,
Actually.
he does use a bow, yeah.
So yeah, that's the story of the multiple Claret Jugs, and now you understand why they don't let the original out.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't either.
God, because
Shane Lowry.
it does happen. What was the? Is it Jules Rimet? Was it the World Cup?
Yes,
trophy?
it got it,
That
the
went
one
missing,
that
yeah.
the one that they won in 1966. Well done, England of 60 odd years ago. You're the best we've ever had. That trophy went missing, was stolen, and then was replaced by the current trophy that we have now.
So I imagine there's probably a couple of them as well. This might be something which is consistent throughout sports.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if you work in other sports and you know about the multiple trophies.
Like the
let us
Wanamaker
know.
trophy, there must be like must be a different one.
Like let's say there's a
The
like,
Stanley Cup. Imagine getting
God, two of them.
size of that thing.
That's half the world silver. Well, like let's say the Premier League. Let's say if there's two teams that could win it on the last day.
Yeah, that's true.
No, they fly it. They fly it between the two places. They work out who it's going to be, and then they fly it there.
What if it's like Southampton and Newcastle?
Well, then they go with whichever one they think is going to win.
Well, it would have been. It was Arsenal and Man City, wasn't it? For that
Yes.
Was
one?
that the one?
Yeah.
So yeah,
But they took it to City because they knew what was going to happen.
Oh yeah, that was obvious.
Yeah, they cheated their way to the title.
That was
Everyone knows
pretty
it.
obvious.
115 counts.
I think other than that, things that happened. So there was the big Microsoft outage. Like a lot of people were complaining about the camera work. They said on the third day specifically about the lenses not being clean.
Bit rainy.
All I can say is the camera crews did an incredible job that week. On it, like walking around filming and just being out in those elements, like incredible work. So if there were a few rain splattered lenses,
We've done it. We know.
Oh yes, filming rain's very very hard.
Have you seen Kieran at Turnberry? and how it's
listen,
on home.
like,
that was good. That was good.
obviously we filmed in the rain, and yes, it's been grim. Imagine being 200 foot up in a crane,
Oh yeah.
30 mile an hour winds, and being battered by rain.
Was there a guy on the crane? Because obviously you're
Yeah,
so
there was-
close.
Yeah, because
There was
Scotty
Yeah.
had to get it on 11. Scotty had to get them to take the crane down because he was hitting towards it.
Yeah.
He could, like a blind second shot, and the crane was just left of where he was aiming. The guy was like, "We need you to take the crane down because he's going to hit it at you."
Yeah, I was only thinking because obviously like Prestwick Airport is obviously like it flies. That's the flight path in it. So I thought if there's cranes around there, it would be a bit of a
What were
problem, but
what
no.
were the planes like? Because we were seeing a lot of broadcasty stuff about planes flying
so
over.
cool.
There were so normally there would have been a lot more. There would have been a lot more planes taking off over, but because the wind had switched, they were taking off the other way down the runway.
Oh
right. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Science.
So there were a few planes that were coming over, like the Globemaster, the big military one, a couple like cargo planes, but compared to what it's like normally there, no, not many.
Were there many more planes on Friday afternoon?
I don't know. I think on Friday afternoon I was pretty much ensconced in hospitality at that point. So
Well, I'm just saying, when all the big boys didn't make the cut, did they just fly home on their planes?
yeah, off they go.
Yeah.
I think they probably took off from Glasgow. It's only an hour away. Other than that,
Well, the only thing we haven't mentioned yet is that this is the first time since 1982 that all 4 majors have been won by Americans.
Yeah.
yeah, so first time, I think it's 42 years, all 4. And bear in mind that it was only Rahm last year at the Masters, which stopped it from being...
Again.
Yeah,
Two
so
full
have
years in a
we
row.
had all American winners since then?
It's basically the last 7 majors.
Wow.
Oh yeah, because it was Rahm, Brooks, Harmon, Wyndham Clark.
Wyndham Clark, and then these 4. So literally, it's the last 7.
I mean,
Come on, Team Europe and the rest of the
the
world.
rest of the world.
Yeah,
Come on, you
literally,
jokers.
With Troon, admittedly, it has a very, very long list of American winners.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird that.
So, obviously America produces some of the best golfers in the world and a higher percentage of maybe the best golfers in the world than anywhere else. But to have so many winners at Troon does feel a little bit odd. However, their dominance in the majors is clear. They're consistently producing major champions now, and it's up to the rest of the world to really kind of pull the finger out and compete.
Do we think that this was the best major season in recent memory? That being, the question on the back of the fact that, we've had 3 different major winners, so no one swept it like mad. All of them have been kind of close. How do you feel, like, as an overview of the season, like, how do you feel it went?
I think the dullest one was probably the Masters. Scotty kind of... It's Scotty when he's playing his very best golf. Yeah. I do actually like to watch him now because I've come to appreciate just how good he is. But when he wins, it can make it a little bit boring because he can just literally beat the course to death.
Yeah.
So he won the Masters. Cool, fine, it's the Masters. Start of the year, everyone's excited. In some respects, it doesn't matter what happens. It's the Masters. Yeah. It's great. A lot of people absolutely loved the PGA Championship this year. About how it was like a real straight fight out between Bryson and Xander. There were loads of birdies. Personally, I didn't enjoy it that much because there was no jeopardy.
Yeah.
Like, they literally couldn't make anything worse than a bogey, which kind of felt a bit weird. But loads of birdies, loads of excitement. Cool. I think Bryson, that was probably the best major I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Great course, incredible drama. Great storylines, the winning shot, which will be remembered for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That for me was great. And then this Open was just brutal, brilliant to watch. The final day, Xander made it. He didn't make it boring, but he was just so much better than everyone else. Like on that back 9, you didn't really feel he was ever going to lose it. Like no one came at him, which would have been great. However, yeah, I think overall this is the best major season we've seen in probably quite some time.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And your original bet for Scotty to win a certain amount of tournaments this year was 13.
13, yeah.
And
Was
is
it 7?
Is he on 7 now? How many more events are left this season?
What, you still got FedEx?
And I want to point out something. It wasn't just this season. It was this year.
Calendar year. Okay.
So I think he can still do that. Honestly, like he was hitting the ball on the range, not very well.
It's not a great endorsement, really.
I
thought you were going to say amazing.
It just goes to show that because I was stood behind Rory before that first round, and he was striking it great, and I was like, "Wow, this is very impressive." And kind of saw Scotty from Monday to Wednesday, and there's obviously levels. Like any tour pro, when they don't hit it well, it's still really good.
Yeah.
But you could tell he wasn't happy the way he was striking it.
Right, got
And
it.
I was stood behind him. I was like, God, he's hitting it a bit crap.
I did see an interview that he gave about talking about the range, and he said that he was he finds it very boring being on the range all the time. So I don't know if you saw his, like, I don't know how to describe it, like his wagon wheel of all of his traces. So you had some, you know, some absolute hooks, some slices, some all this sort of thing. He's, you know.
Oh, you talk about the cricket wagon wheel?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually thought about a marshmallowy chocolate treat when he said wagon
no,
wheel.
but like, the wagon wheel of like all of his traces,
All of his
and they
traces.
were just mental. So I think he just got a bit bored.
It wasn't great.
No.
Like he was hitting some really rough shots, and I was like, oh god, this isn't looking good for Scotty. And then he goes out and obviously just hits every fairway in green.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he's Scotty Schauffele.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what he does. Apart from that last day when it was a bit
When he
rogue.
couldn't putt.
So yeah, for me, I can't remember a better season major wise.
Do you think?
I just really enjoyed the venues. Like I think the courses have just been great. Obviously, you can
I
argue
didn't- I didn't like Valhalla.
you guys didn't like Valhalla, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and
Is it
Pinehurst is great.
Perfect golf course for your favourite type of golfer, though.
Yeah.
Which is like mash it long.
Yeah, like
Brooks,
birdies and
yeah.
you know, getting the birdies going and stuff
No
like that.
guile, have you, Kieran? No subtlety.
No. And then Pinehurst was, you know, the ultimate golf test, and
Pinehurst was
from a
great.
golfing perspective, and then obviously Troon was just a different test in terms of like a test in terms of just brutality.
Sanity.
Yeah.
Do you think Xander goes on to win the Olympics again now?
Ooh.
Golf in the Olympics. You know, he's not gonna win the 100 meters.
I must admit, I'm not.
Well,
I'm sure when it's on, I'll care, but I don't really feel that excited about it right now.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's really talked about it. I think that's probably why you can't
Yeah.
build up to it. Obviously, it's every 4 years, and it's like you can't get involved in it every single year. So it will take a bit of building up, but I think
It's in 2 weeks' time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's 3rd and 4th of August that weekend,
Le Golf National.
and it's also Kieran's birthday, and it's also my stag do. So you can watch golf on that weekend as well.
God, well, so many choices. What to do?
Fleetwood versus Xander.
Oh, Tommy.
Oh God, no, we haven't even spoken about him.
No, I don't think we need to.
No.
Jacob's not here, so we'll save it for next time.
Our
Jacob's here.
pre-tournament pick, just absolutely.
Yeah, sorry to everyone who put loads of money on, you know, thinking that Jacob had actually done some good research when in fact he just went with his heart.
Yeah, I think that the Open is just not about stats. I think the Open is just very much like, I don't know, people that were like links for a start that you know actually enjoy it, and then also just who's got, you know, the fight in them that week sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what it comes down to ultimately is like who plays the best that week.
Such an idiot.
That's a very like Michael Owen comment. That. I know what you mean. But do you know what I mean?
Usually the player that shoots the lowest score will win.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But like, you know, with like Augusta, you can, you know, the ball striking is like massive. Like stats can be a big one, but then with the, you know, with Royal Troon, like it can be a bit, or you know, the Open, it can be just a bit of a, almost like a, you know, bit of a hat. I did have Justin Rose just to premise that as well. 101 to 1.
Do you want to do our final scores in the major?
Yes.
Have you actually added them up correctly?
I've added
this
them
time?
up correctly now.
Because
Yes.
I still don't believe you. But
Okay.
just to put everyone in context, at the start of the year, Jacob's not here, but we all picked our teams. 4 golfers, 3 had to be from the top 50, 1 outside, and you got an cumulative score. So if you missed the cut with that player, they got the amount of players who missed the cut. And if you finished first, you got 1 point, second, 2 points, all the rest of it. The player with the lowest score out of the 4 of us is going to be the winner. The person with the highest score needs to restock the food cabinet. Does that cover all the bases?
That does, yeah.
That's excellently well done.
Thank you.
Really, really well done. Now, the Open Championship 2024 was one of the only times that one of us has had the winner, which is great.
Yeah.
Because
Well, yeah.
last season we didn't do particularly well on having the winner.
Yeah.
This season we did pretty well. We had Schauffele. Well, Kieran had Schauffele, so he's got 2. I had Scheffler, so I got the one from the Masters. No one had the winner at the US Open. We'll get to that in a minute.
Big miss that.
We'll get to that in a minute. So, from the Open Championship, it didn't go particularly well for Pete, and it didn't go particularly well for Jacob. It went very well for me and Kieran. Kieran actually won the Open Championship with regards to score. Rahm on 7, obviously Schauffele 1, Matsuyama 66, Dustin Johnson 31, which was
DJ
very weird.
Yeah, DJ was a big
came
one.
through.
Yeah.
So for a total of 105, Kieran, you won the Open Championship. Spectacular work. Schauffele, I had Schauffele, Cantlay, Fitzpatrick, Neiman, and they were 7, 25, 50, and 58. No miscuts for me. No miscuts for Kieran. Spectacular. Well done. However, Peter Finch, Jacob Broadbridge, 3 missed cuts each.
Yeah.
Peter Finch, McIlroy, missed the cut. Wyndham Clark, missed the cut. Will Zalatoris, missed the cut. Adrian Moronk, 50.
What a boy. Thanks, Adrian.
Thanks
for coming in clutch in the one major.
That was
Not great.
mental, wasn't it?
Jacob Hovland, missed the cut. Aberg, missed the cut. Cam Smith, missed the cut. Koepka, 43. Jacob got 283 points at the Open. Peter Finch, 290 points at the Open.
Love that.
That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points.
So many points.
And what it came down to was a massive switch in the second and third place and a win by only 7 points. I was the winner this year. Thank you very much. 568 points for me. Thanks for not clapping. I love that. 568 points for me.
I'm going to get into that.
Kieran jumped himself right up the board. 575 points for Kieran. So lost out by just 7 points, which is really, really good. Well done to us. In last place with 860 points, 149 points behind Jacob's 711 is Mr. Peter Finch at 860 points for the year.
So I'm going to go into this and say I dispute this result. It has come to light that Mick cannot count.
Listen, the maths is done by the computer.
I'm pretty sure by the end of last week, me and Jacob were tied, and now all of a sudden I'm 100 odd points behind.
Okay,
So,
would you like your totals for the year?
No, I'm not. But if you say that, oh, what a surprise, you win. Oh no,
I didn't win last year. Jacob did. I lost last year, and I did the maths.
Have you noticed that Mick hasn't sent this out to an outside agency for independent
This is-
verification?
yeah, you are right,
This
you are
is
right.
all. This has all been done under the purview of Warwick Incorporated, and
Yeah.
you know what? I'm not saying that I'm completely disputing it. I'm just saying I'm gonna put a question mark in with the ombudsman if he can come and have a look.
Taylor Gooch wasn't in the tournament, so there's an asterisk.
A big asterisk. My team just sucked this year. I think Wyndham Clark missed every single cut in a major.
All
he
but
missed
one.
He missed 3 cuts.
3 cuts. Moronk, who has missed every cut, is the only one who kind of got through the Open.
Yeah. So I've
Rory's not done too bad.
Rory's done all right, apart from this
I
one.
have done a
obviously.
breakdown of our players, and what the perfect team would be of the players that we picked.
Okay.
So in last place, Wyndham Clark, 275 points. You had him.
Absolute suck.
In second to last place, Adrian Moronk, 263 points, 3 missed cuts. You had him.
Awesome.
Victor Hovland, third last,
Not a
217 points, 3 missed cuts.
That's gone under the radar.
That is very weird for someone who last year we were saying was going to sweep it this year.
Not done great, has he?
Terrible. And then in reverse order, Fitzpatrick, Johnson, Zalatoris, Rahm 205, Neiman 193, Smith 181, Oberg 173, Matsuyama, Koepka, and the best team of the year in first place with 17 points, Xander Schauffele.
Mental, innit?
Unreal. So good.
Absolutely insane. 8-1-7-1.
Yeah.
That is wild. In second place, Scheffler, 57, only kind of, scuppered by his 41st place finish at the US Open. In third place, Patrick Cantlay, 103 points, no miscuts, just steady in the 20s to 50s range. Excellent work. Fourth place, despite a miscut at the Open, Rory Mcilroy.
Yeah. I mean, Rory's had a decent year, apart from that miscut.
I think that's why I also feel sorry for him, is because like he's had a good year for if you weren't Rory Mcilroy, but because he's Rory Mcilroy, it's
Yeah, we expect more.
yeah. I mean, like say you're saying about Victor Hovland, like last year I'd probably say that Victor Hovland and Rory McIlroy are pretty on par in terms of how they played. So they're a very similar level of golfer, but it's just obviously Rory just has that. The scrutiny and the media on the back. So that's why I feel just a little bit sorry for him.
Okay, the only thing we didn't factor in, Bryson.
Yeah.
No one picked him.
Nope.
He could have been anyone's outside of the top 50 in the OWGR pick because at the time of picking, he was 208th in the OWGR.
Random, eh?
which is absolutely insane. And he would have finished the season with just 89 points, which would have jumped McIlroy out of the top 4.
Hey, listen, it just goes to show. You can never tell. You can never tell. There's a few players on there that you think would have had a really, really good year. But you know what? Just doesn't happen at times.
So what that means is that Mr. Peter Finch will be refilling the food cupboard in the office. We'll be dining out on caviar and biscuits, crackers and fried chicken.
I'm going to contact my lawyer first. I just want, I want some independent verification.
Do you want like a recount? You want a recount?
All right, Donald. We'll have a recount in the Discord. Everyone who's in the Discord, if you're not in it, come and join. We're going to chat through the scores for the year, and we'll analyze it in the bar in the Discord and show Pete that Meronk was just a terrible choice.
No, I refuse to accept the result.
And Wyndham Clark and Rory McIlroy are the same.
Right. I think that's it. I think we've covered pretty much everything very well there.
Some work.
Guys, thanks for chatting through, everyone. Thank you very much for wrapping your ears around this podcast or viewing it with your eyes. Next week, we are back to our regular schedule as major season is over, but I'm sure we can find something entertaining, fun and informative to fill a few hours of your life with. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
So somber, I love it. Bye,
Well
everyone.
done. Well done.